size, real sport, Bar TV.
It doesn't matter if you do it in a man cave, in your van, on your couch, with a painted face. Whatever it is, just get behind your team.
Go the Knights!
Go Barra.
With your favourite cold one in your hand. Our passion, our game, our beer. Tooheys New, for the love of footy.
Australia's leading sports organisations have made a pledge to tackle youth binge drinking.
Now when you're watching your favourite sports, like football,
swimming, basketball,
netball
and athletics,
you'll see this logo.
it's all about coming together to have a positive influence on our drinking culture.
We're strong enough to say enough.
and you can be too.
Back your judgment.
Stand up for what you believe in.
Be the influence.
Well, welcome to Harker Oval on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, and we're here for one of the games of the season, you would imagine. You can be quite sure that at the start of the season, Cessnock circled 2 games on the program. When are we playing Curry and when are we playing West? And they're playing West today at Harker Oval. At the start of this round, these teams were first and third. And a very good game in prospect, and I've got Matthew Peterson with me. My name's Morgan Campbell. Matthew, who do you fancy today and why?
Well, I think it's probably about the game of the season so far. Obviously, Cessnock in the first round of the real NRL this season knocked West off, and I think they'll be looking to double it up today. They've probably got the form. Wests have been a bit hit and miss, but like every year, Wests are always going to be a pretty formidable side here at Harker Oval. I honestly think this is probably the prelude game to the grand final. I would not be surprised if these two sides are the two sides that made it just a bit past Harker Oval. You can actually see it from Harker Oval, which will the grand final be at Hunter Stadium this year. But I would imagine that these two sides will certainly be in and around that grand final.
Yeah, it's a very even competition this year, and every team's a chance. But you're right, West have been a bit scratchy at times. Cessnock have been a bit scratchy at times. Here come West out onto the field now, led out by Mark Tafua. Their sides as follows. Number 1, Justin Smith. Number 2, Michael Hendry. Number 3, Jermaine Ale. Number 4, Steve Gordon. Now, number 5, Ryan Lamb is a scratching. Number 6, Joel Brown. 7, Jade Porter. 8, Mark Tafua. 9, Chris Knight. 10, Ryan Petro. 11, Peter Mannion. 12, Matt Herman. 13, Warren Shillings. And then on the bench, the new man, number 14, Reg Saunders. 15, Colin Clark. 16, Nick Mahon. 17, Cameron Moran. And 18, Tom Madden. And Matthew, you might take us through the Cessnock side.
Yeah, the Cessnock side, 1, Geordie Connolly. The wingers, Joe Woodbury and Brendan Williams. The centres are Jared Edwards and Sean Metcalf. In the halves, Willie Hayter and it's Liam Foran. The props are Dan Metcalf and Noah Easton. Brett Stevens is the hooker. The back rows, Alex Farter, Reid Hugo and Brian Hlad's the lock. And on the bench, we've got Josh Dimmick, Mark White and Jaden Brown. I don't think they're carrying a 17th man today.
Well, they may. If they are, his name's TBA. As the players come on and shake hands, this is
DCE style.
What? TBA?
TBA, yeah.
Sure. Well, as the players shake hands here out on the field, there's plenty of subplots to today's game. Barney Miller, of course, back at Harker Oval. He coached them to a couple of premierships here. His former assistant, Dean Botham, in charge of Western Suburbs, and John Taylor refereeing. And there's plenty of history between Cessnock and Western Suburbs and John Taylor. So there'll be a bit in this game in a few different ways. Looks like Cessnock are going to kick off as the bench players return. You're right, at this stage there's only 3 waddling over to the bench from Cessnock. So we'll see what happens there. But we're almost ready to go here. First versus third in the real NRL. Been a very good day. There was a bit of rain late in the week in Newcastle, particularly on Thursday night. There might have been a bit of apprehension about this game, but the sun's been out ever since then, and the ground looks in pretty good order. The cricket pitch won't offer too much sting, and that's always good for the players.
Well, it is. It's not good for the cricketers come September and October, but yeah,
they've got plenty of time.
Yeah, there's plenty of time before that.
Well, Willie Hedder's got the ball on the tee, and I think we're about ready to go here. Indeed we are. Cessnock versus Western Suburbs in the real NRL in round 8. The first game of the second half of the season for both these teams, and it begins with a very vigorous hit up there over on the right-hand side of the field. And so they're going to work the right-hand side here and bring the ball forward up over the 20. Western Suburbs be relying on their forwards again, and that was a bit of a penalty there, I think. Dragged down the number 1, Justin Smith there, getting out of dummy half. And Wests have got the first penalty of the day, very early doors indeed. And Jade Porter launches this into touch. Not too much distance on it, but they can set up for a big start here 40 metres out. And away they go with Porter, and he gives it to Shillings. Straight up the middle. And Knight's in at dummy half. They look down the right here, and that's the big 11 there, Peter Mannion, working on the right-hand side of the field. And now Shillings, he's keen for work. He's going to take it up again. And they're making 10 metres with every carry at the moment. And Knight looks right. And they're working out the back here. That's good hands. Very good hands, in fact, from the 6 there, Brown. And inside the 20 they go. Now here's the captain, Mark Tafua. And he'll take a few with him. He always does. Inside the 10. And they're looking left and looking right here. They're going to go to Porter. They've got numbers out there. It's a good short ball, but it goes out the back and into touch. They just didn't get their timelines right there. And Cameron Moran on the wing. The new man in the 17 can only watch it go spilling out the back and over the sideline.
Pretty good first set that though from Western Suburbs. Obviously, big forward pack with the captain Mark Tafua and Warren Shillings in at lock there. They're going to be hard to stop all day, and I think that's where Cessnock are really got a big challenge on their hands, meeting them in the forwards. Yeah, that's right. Now here's a man who can do something about that, Dan Metcalf, and that was a good sturdy charge. Now Noah Easton, he's been very good since coming into first grade this year. Didn't start the first game of the season in the starting 13, but he's gradually built his way into the team. And that looks like Alec Fatah. And he's taken a few with him up towards halfway. Over there to Foran. Presumably with a contract situation a lot more stable than that of his brother. And he puts it down into the corner for West to bring it back. Good strong chase from Cessnock too. That's what they want to see early in the game. And now there goes the 2, Michael Hendry. Of course, Callum Richardson out of the side today. He's a big loss for West, a great finisher. And now that looks like Jermaine Ale. And out the back they go. Haven't made as many metres in this set, Western Suburbs, as Ryan Petro was dragged down there. Now they go over to the far side with Steve Gordon. And they'll kick from a decent position here on halfway. Wasn't as much sting in the forwards though that time. Here's Brown. Was at Cessnock last year, of course, another subplot to this game. And Geordie Connolly's at fullback. He's played every position short of driving the bus to the ground this season for Cessnock. And the thing is, has done a good job in nearly every position he's played. He obviously started in the back row early in the season. We've commented before, he's not the biggest guy in the second row, but certainly he's hard to tackle, so I think he'll add something running from the back. Ball's come out there. West are going to get another chance. And we've just got word in that the TBA isn't TBA this week. It's actually Callum Orchard who's backing up from the Cessnock reserves. He is. He put in a stint in reserve grade. Cessnock's reserves had a very big win, one of the upsets of the season, you'd have to think, knocking off West 10-6. And the last 15 minutes of defending as well, and so I think he'll be a bit tired legs, but certainly probably relishing the opportunity to get a crack at first grade today. Yeah, that's right. He's played first grade a few times and done a bit of a job. Scored a try against Curry a couple of weeks ago, as I recall. Now here's Tafua. And he's up his face with Easton there, and he had to take a fair bit of wrestle to get him down. And needed a bit of help from the 12 as well. Reed Hugo as they go right. And that's Porter. And Porter looks short, and he ends up taking it on himself because the runners overran him again. It's been a recurring trouble early on for West here. Now here's Petro. A good one-on-one tackle up high. But they're working towards the posts here, Wests. And they look like they're set up to the left here. Here's Brown. Brown goes himself. Good tackle down low. Last tackle here. Brown's out of play. They're going to need Porter. And he comes across to the midfield. He's going to put this in the air. And Hendry's coming. And Hendry's coming. And Hendry's got it. He scores the first try for Wests. He beat Joe Woodbury in the contest in the air. Comes down with the ball. And Wests are on the board first, 4-0. Yeah, terrific take. Something you're more akin to seeing in the AFL, but got up there and just was too big and too strong and outleapt the opposing winger.
It's been a feature of Joe Woodbury's game this season. He hasn't been beaten in the air very often. My money probably would have been on him there, but when you're standing still on the goal line and you've got someone with the momentum chasing onto the ball, it does make life difficult. And so Wests have got the first points after 5 minutes.
Very hard for the Cessnock defence. Mark Defoe's had about 3 or 4 really strong runs and taken 3 or 4 guys to bring him down. So that's where I think Wests will look to exploit the Cessnock defence, try and really get him to drag a few defenders and then play out obviously their halves in Porter, who's probably one of the best halves in the competition, and just give them a bit of extra space.
So the ball's on the tee here for the kick. Looks very much like Joel Brown over there who's going to take it. Six minutes gone here. West 4, Cessnock 0. Difficult enough kick. Here he comes. Yes. Never in doubt. Lovely hit. So West have got the lead early here, 6-0. And Cessnock make the long trot back to kick off for the second time in the game. So here's Willie Hetter to take the kick off. And a bit of footwork there. I don't think he'll be getting a game for Chelsea over there. A very poor piece of trapping. But Matt Herman brings it back for Wests. And they can start again, just rolling forward. There's Mannion. And that's Herman again. 2 hit-ups in 3. Now they snap it to the right. That's a good ball, or at least it would have been if Michael Hendry had been up in the line, but he was a fair way back, and the ball went spitting into touch. Cessnock will have the scrum feed. Yeah, nowhere near him in the end. It was good thinking and good enterprising play from West. I think on about the 3rd or 4th tackle, but yeah, the execution was there. Hendry, I don't know if he was on the same page as Brown, I think, who threw that. I should mention while we've got a moment here, Matthew, that the Cessnock Rugby League Club had a big loss through the week with the passing of Brian Davey, who was a great man of the Cessnock Club and the ground announcer there for many, many years. And I think everyone at Bar TV would like to extend their sympathies to the family of Mr. Davey and to the Cessnock Club. He was a great loss and a very good man. Contributed a lot to the club over the years. So Cessnock bringing it forward here with the number 12. That's Reid Hugo. Scored a try last week for Cessnock in their 30-16 catch-up win over Central. And now Easton. And they'll be looking to the left here. And Foran. And he holds it up as long as he can and finally gives it to Connolly. And Connolly's past one. And he ends up getting dragged down right over in the corner. Very slow to get up too. He might have copped a knock there. Goes to Foran again. Or at least it's Halad in the end who takes it up. And they've set out deep to the right here. Here's Foran. To Heta. Flat ball to Hugo. Good tackle round the legs. It was a forward ball to Hugo in the end. No, it wasn't. It was the last tackle. The last tackle. Cessnock have to turn it over there. And a pretty meek end of the set, you'd have to say. Yeah, fantastic tackle there from Gordon. I thought the 12 for Cessnock, Reid Hugo, was just going to break through the line there. But yeah, terrific tackle to end the set. Here's Tafua. Didn't make quite as much ground that time. They got up and whacked him. Sean Metcalf is a fair way infield there. And now that looks like Petro bringing it up. And Knight's going to kick out a dummy half, and he's caught them a little bit unawares. And Woodbury's got to chase back, and he finally picks it up on the run with a good bit of skill and brings it back to the 20. Yeah, some pretty heavy tackles there from Sean Metcalf, coming a bit infield, and obviously big hit on Tafua, and then I think the follow-up tackle was equally as big, and maybe a bit of overs on the ground, but certainly one of the bigger centres running around. Short Metcalf, obviously his brother, I think Dan, is in the front row, and he certainly wouldn't look out of place playing in the middle of the field. Well, he might have been watching a bit of Steve Maddai through the week with the putting a bit of damage into the green and red with that sickening shot on Dave Tyrrell through the week. Nearly felt like he did been hit by a bus. Now here's Brett Stevens. Over halfway they go. Cessnock trying to put a bit of pressure on West here early in the game. And here's Willie Hatter. He's going to bomb this into the corner. And it's taken pretty comfortably over there. The 17, Cameron Moran. And the chase is decent enough. He headed infield and didn't make any ground. And Wests can build upfield again here with Petro. Down the short side they go. Steve Gordon. The defence pretty solid in the middle of the park from Cessnock so far. Now here's Herman, and that's a good cart. And they're aiming up to the right here. Petro's looming up here to take it up, but instead it goes to Tafua. And he just drags them forward. Plenty of NRL experience in the legs of Mark Tafua. And he just keeps going forward for Wests. And they finally kick with Porter off his left. And Connolly, decent positioning for someone who probably hasn't played a lot of fullback. But he got it away. Over to the 5 there, Brendan Williams, who's finally taken down centre field. And Cessnock can get a bit of a roll on here. There's a bit of trouble in the play the ball there. And Hatter finally, he's taken about 15 metres off them. Bit bunched up here, Cessnock. And it's Woodbury. They need a forward here. And it's going to be Stevens. They still haven't had a forward take the ball up in this set, Cessnock, but they made decent ground. Now Foran goes the short side to Connolly. And a flick ball out the back there from Edwards. Back to Connolly. Back inside to Fatah. And last tackle, they've advanced pretty well up the field here. Foran. Over to Hatter. And he looks to pass and finally does. And Hugo, for the second time in a row, goes down on last tackle. They don't seem too keen to kick, Matthew.
No, it certainly wasn't a bad set of 6 in the end. It was a bit scrappy to start with, and as you noted, that 3 or 4 runs out of dummy half and a few of the backs getting involved, but still managed to roll 60 or 70 metres up the field. But yeah, poor finish there. They really need to get a boot on it and try and pin West down this end, which they really haven't had a chance to do so far.
Well, the game's pretty much being played between the 20-metre lines at the moment. And Wests are coming forward again here with Knight. Out the back they go. And that looked a little bit high, that shot there. And it's Petro. He's finally dragged to ground. And Knight will work the short side here. Here's Brown. Out the back to Herman. Good tackle down low from Stevens. He keeps putting himself in the line there, Stevens. He's not afraid. There's plenty of blokes out there bigger than him. Now here's Brown. And he's going to test out that side again. But this time it's Edwards who's underneath there. And finally Woodbury. He loses the contest again, but this was off the bounce. And Wests are going to score in the corner again. It's Jermaine Ale who goes over. Another bomb to that side of the field. This time it was a bit more shallow. It meant that Jared Edwards had to try and take it. It bounced. It was a contest. And from there, Jermaine Ale got the best of it and put the ball down.
Yeah, some pretty poor positioning, I think, there from Cessnock, and probably just showing Geordie Connolly not playing much fullback there. I think Joe Woodbury was almost on the right upright, and no one really out there to field the bomb. And as you said, Jared Edwards had to go up for it, and it was out-leaped, and lucky bounce for West, but you take those.
Yeah, the fact that it bounced at all meant that there was always a chance that would happen.
Well, you're always setting yourself up for something bad happening. If you let it bounce, you just don't know, and that's a perfect example of it. Bounced perfectly in the arms and of a West player and streaked away.
Well, they've got the better of it at the moment, West, well and truly. 14 minutes gone in the game, 10-0. Brown's got the ball on the tee again.
Well, if the kick before was a bit tough, this is as tough as it gets for a right footer.
Absolutely. He'll have chalk on his boots as he runs in here, Joel Brown. Here he comes. Well, it looks all right. Oh, it's sensational. Never in doubt, Matthew.
Well, last week we saw a bit of a kicking exhibition between Curry and Macquarie. That's certainly up there with some of the best.
Lovely kick from Joel Brown. And West have jumped out to a 12-0 lead here in the 15th minute. Plenty of time left in the game, but Cessnock are doing a lot of backpedaling at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly haven't been in the game, I don't think, for this opening 15 minutes. All the running with West, I think if you were Barney Miller, you would just want him to complete a set with a good kick on the end and get him to pin him down their end.
was a hint of out on the full there, but it ended up being taken right on the chalk over there by Western Suburbs. And they'll start another set. Cessnock forced to kick off for the third time in the game. And they go right here, and I think that might be Ryan Petro, it is, up to the 40. They're not being too adventurous, Wests, early in their sets. Apart from the odd snap down the short side. This is Warren Shillings, and the ball's come out there. And Cessnock can start here. And they're going to throw it straight away out to Metcalf, who loves the one-on-one challenge. And it took 3 bumps to get him to the ground eventually there. So Cessnock starting a set in a very good position. And Easton brings it forward. What can they conjure up here? Here's Stevens and Hlad. They're looking left here. 4 and set up. Here he goes. Short ball out the back. Now here's Connolly, and Edwards finally held it, but he was going backwards as he took it, and he juggled it, and he spilt it, and Wests have got the ball. The timing just wasn't quite right there for Cessnock.
Yeah, it seemed just a bit forced from Geordie Connolly. Don't know if anything was really on there. He probably may have been better off just to take the tackle. But again, if you're Barney Mill, he wouldn't be too happy with how the last couple of sets of 6 have gone for Cessnock.
Well, West have just made a mug out of me there. After I just said they've been playing pretty much in the middle of the field, they've swung the ball wide for Matt Herman to get tackled 10 in from touch. And now Gordon's out there. And Herman again, off to Petro. And Shillings is lining up again. Here he goes. And Stevens down low again. Good tackle. Onto the cricket pitch. Now down the right. And Porter finds the grass again. Makes Connolly chase. And finally he comes back. And Cessnock have got 80 metres to go here. With Woodbury. There's a few on their haunches here early on. 17 minutes gone here. West 12, Cessnock 0. That's a good run. I think that was... I was going to say it was Brett Stevens, but it wasn't. Now here they go. This is Brett Stevens. That was why I got confused. It was Brendan Williams in there. All the way on the other side of the field from the wing. Now Hetter, and they're going to be short on that side with Hugo. Williams finally now out onto his wing. Hetter into dummy half. Foreign. Into the air. And it's going to be a contest, and Edwards was keen there, but Michael Hendry was keener, and he took it very, very well indeed.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic take with a few Cessnock defenders streaming through. Just interesting to note out here on the right, 2 pretty good centres, Sean Metcalf and Steve Gordon. Well, the last few tackles, there's been a little bit of feeling, so I think that shapes up to be something to watch, Bar TV viewers.
Early days for that, Matthew. It's good to see it bubbling away early. There's been the odd stink between these sides over the years.
There's not much love lost.
No. Now here's Chris Knight, and that's a good little run. He's taken about 15 metres off them there. And Porter, well, I reckon he might have bombed there. Sure enough, up goes Woodbury. He takes it this time, takes it very well. So 3 times they've peppered him, and this time he's come down with the ball. And Geordie Connolly now. But it seems like it's going to be a continuing tactic. I think when you score 2 tries from 2 bombs to the same corner, you might try it a few times more.
Well, it's like the Australian cricket team, isn't it? You bowl a few bounces and you get a few wickets. You're going to keep doing it, aren't you? And I think that's going to be the tactic from now on in, is to really pepper Joe Woodbury out there with a few high balls.
So Hugo's taken over there. Cessnock have been eager to get the ball to him in a pretty wide position. Now here's Metcalf. He gets past the first. He's keen to offload. And that's the 14 on the field there for Cessnock. That's Josh Dimmick. A bit of feeling in that tackle for sure. Now he's Foreign, and he's going to put a bit of a shonky old kick in there. It's a bit of a chip in the end, and Woodbury's taken it down, and now he's kicked it back in field, and Edwards is coming through, and so too was Foreign, I think, but he got the fumbles and the ball went to ground.
Well, that would have been an interesting try. 2 pretty shonky kicks. I think Liam Forbes might have been a little bit more deliberate than Joe Woodbury's follow-up effort.
Interesting tactic, though. They were very compressed in defence there, West, so it wasn't the worst idea. Now, that pass looked about at least 9 yards forward, but it's been allowed to go. And West working up the centre this time. And Knight out the back here. Here's Tafua. Running a bit wider this time. He's been concentrating up the centre, but this time he was a bit wider. Now here's Brown. And Brown just sticks it on the boot there to Williams. Ended up a pretty gentle kick. And Williams has got some space to run into here. Well, Chris Knight just picks him up and throws him to ground. And Dimmick away now, and Mark White's on the field. Always puts in a good shift for Cessnock, does Mark White. Dimmick away to Foran. They're going wide early again here. Edwards. He's passed a couple. He's passed all of them, and he's only got the fullback to beat here, Edwards. He's big and strong. He's beaten a couple of tackles still. He keeps going, turns it inside to Connolly, who's not far away. He hasn't got it down. He's so close. They've got a couple of tackles in hand here as the post wobble. Foran, very flat ball. Gordon knocks it down, but he was offside.
Well, absolutely tremendous run there from Edwards. At one stage, I just think he wasn't going to go down at all, and a terrific offload there to Connolly. And just if those goalpost pads were a bit skinnier, he might have just been able to slip over. But I think the West pretty happy that that was in the way. But fantastic run from Edwards.
Indeed. Now here's Dimmick. He's going to give it to Dan Metcalf. Cessnock can set up camp here, and Dimmick's got it back off Metcalf. And now here's Halad. Cessnock need to steady here. And Dimmick's looking left. Out the back to Foran. Here he comes, holds it up. Connolly. Connolly turns and twists and goes down. Good defence out there from West. Foran again. He's scheming. Goes out the back to Heta. Heta throws a couple of dummies. Hugo beat one. He's got the try-scoring form in his nostrils here. Foran. Short ball. Heta. Flick on. And Metcalf. And he was big and strong enough to stand up there 2 metres in from touch and get to ground. Now here's Metcalf again. And a bit of adventure in this set from Cessnock. Plenty of offloads. Josh Dimmick goes down with the ball. Last tackle. Hugo. Out the back to Heta. I don't think he expected it. Jags the kick over towards Woodbury. And Woodbury's got this one, I think. It's a one-on-one contest. But he's going to be bottled up there. And West will get the ball back. Pretty steady set of 6 there from West in defence.
Fantastic defensive set by West there. Very, making it very hard for Cessnock to break through. But Foran's been quite busy, and I think he looks the most likely for Cessnock here today.
He's had more of the ball than in previous weeks, I think, Liam Foran. Certainly in the games of Cessnock's that I've seen this year, it's been pretty even between him and Heta. But today, Foran's been doing the most of the work with the ball. But apart from a couple of little half breaks there, Cessnock never really looked likely to crack them open. And Wests are able to steady and come back at them again. Steve Gordon does a lot of work like a forward out there. Loves carting the ball up. Herman at dummy half. Tafua. Gets it away. Now they're going to be short. Petro. And Knight goes across to Brown here. And again, it's not too adventurous, the kick. But Geordie Connolly got beaten by the leg break there. And had to go back and chase. Now here's Woodbury. Doesn't mind a jaunt out of dummy half. That was a pretty good one. Dimmick. In fact, it's Williams. Up over the 40. This time, Dimmick. Away to Halad. They're going to go to Foran again here, but he'll kick back towards the other side of the field. He's going to find grass, and he's going to make Cameron Moran chase back. But there wasn't too much pressure on him, and Heta kept badgering him as he tried to run across field. But he goes down centre field. A few West players slow to get back here. They're a little bit staggered, and they're making the changes. Mark Tafua has just come off for Reggie Saunders, the new signing, and Colin Clark has just come on as well.
Yeah, I think Tafua very busy opening 25 minutes. I think he would have had about 10 to 12 hit-ups.
There's Reggie Saunders, the new signing. And he's just standing up there. There's 4. You'll see 5 players emerge out of that tackle. And now the ball goes behind Knight. He didn't know his own strength. And Knight's gone straight through here. But it ended up being only a half break. They finally collared him. And Porter goes down with the ball. But it's getting a little bit scrappy in the middle of the field for Cessnock. And Knight will kick here. And a very strange kick in the end, you'd have to say. It was a bit of a dink over the top. Woodbury thought better of playing at it. And a bit of an anticlimax, 20 metres out from their own line. Cessnock will have a feed.
Yeah, very, very strange kick. I don't know if that's what he intended, but on the new signing for West, Reggie Saunders, it's a pretty handy thing having Mark DeFua come off and have someone like Reg Saunders come on, who's, well, I don't know if anybody can be as big as Mark DeFua, but he certainly comes close.
He's a decent sized unit, isn't he? He's had flirtations with the Newcastle Knights before. He has nearly been picked up by the Knights a couple of times and has trained with them in the past, Reggie Saunders. So he's certainly got a bit of pedigree. And West really aren't in the habit of signing duds, so you'd think he's got something going for him. Now they go away to Heta. And a strong run out there. They do like a back row running wide, Cessnock. That's the 16 on the field for them, Jaden Brown. Now here's Mark White. That ball's come out there and West have got it back. What's Taylor going to say here? A knock on against Western Suburbs. So Cessnock, a bit of a let off there. They'll get the ball back from a scrum.
Yeah, a bit careless, I think, there from Mark White, trying to slip an offload out after being hit by a few West defenders. But I think West certainly are in control here and in playing exactly how you'd want to play if you were 12 points in front. Cessnock just need to somehow get into the game. They really haven't been. There hasn't been a really great set of 6 that they've put together and finished it off with a kick.
Here we go. The fast that is the modern scrum. I know I gripe about it every week, but that time there was a bit of a boot. I think it was Warren Shillings who just chucked a boot out there, just to annoy Cessnock. Reset, start again. Here's Liam Fore, and he's going to run it himself. He's built like a back rower. And away they go. Here's Halad. Hint of spear about that tackle. I think it was accidental, but Taylor sees enough to give a penalty. 40 metres out. They can really plunge this into the corner and set up for another attack here.
Well,
and that's what Foran does, yes. Winger was interested for a minute.
I think this is their best opportunity of the game. They really haven't had a great set of 6 starting in there on about the 10-metre line, so I think Foran and Heta really need to step up here and get Cessnock on the board.
Well, here's Alec Fatah, the captain, and he's not far away with his first run of the set. And Dimmick's in at dummy half, and he's going to go flat there to Mark White, who turns and dances, and he almost got the ball down there. He's not far away. Bit of a step. Now, what's happened there? He's ended up over the line when he played the ball there. And Josh Dimmick picked it up and tried to score the try. Now, that worked for me in the under-8s for the Cessnock Gold. Cessnock go in as gold. But I don't think it quite cuts it in the real NRL.
Well, I thought the tactic was if White put it on the line, then Dimmick could just push his hands down, which I thought he did. But again,
it's a novel tactic.
Look, if you're Barney Miller, you're going to be pretty upset with that. But some pretty smick footwork there from Mark White, who's usually a north-south guy. He's not certainly doesn't use his footwork very often, but pretty nifty little footwork there.
So here come West again. 11 minutes to go in the first half here on Bar TV. Western Suburbs 12, Cessnock 0. In a top-of-the-table clash, Morgan Campbell and Matthew Peterson taking you through it here. There's a bit of work in that tackle. The referee's not interested. Away to Saunders, his second run. And this is a good one. He's taken 12 metres off them. That's what they're looking for. They don't want the void. When Tafua comes off the field, they want another big forward to have there to make the metres. And that's what Saunders has done in that run. Gordon getting very agitated there in the tackle. Now they go to Porter. Well, who would have thought it? A kick to the corner. And it's Edwards under this again, but Woodbury, well, he came from the back fence there to take that. I think he jumped the fence from the car park and finally caught the ball and went down 20 metres out.
Yeah, the formation of the back three is still quite baffling, and I think, and as I said, I don't know if it is to compensate for Connolly not being really used to playing at fullback position. But yeah, you're right. Woodbury really got to run up onto that.
Noah Easton's getting ready to come back on. This will be their 4th change, Cessnock. Pretty early in the game, half an hour in. Now they're spreading the ball, and Heta out to Metcalf. He wants the one-on-one. There he goes, but Gordon wrapped him up. He was able to bump away from Brown, but not Gordon. Plenty of experience out there. This is a candidate for the slowest play of the ball in history. And now Brendan Halad. Same story, every run for Brendan Halad. North-south. Now to the right with Heta. And he's going to kick here, but he's a chance of finding a chest in the end. And on the first bounce, it goes to Michael Hendry. And he's dragged down centre field. But they can start a set from more than 30 metres out from their own line here, West. They might fancy this with 10 minutes to go to steal a line from the ABC. The last 10 minutes of the half for Western Suburbs tend to be the killing season, where they can make teams hurt. That's Peter Mannion who's been barrelled over there. Now Shillings. He's not afraid to pass, and that's a good ball. And now a very good ball out to Herman and Gordon. And he's got numbers to his left. And intelligent play there from the winger who came back inside Cameron Moran because they were running out of space, but he lost the ball. He lost the ball. It all broke down.
Yeah, just the execution. Fantastic bit of hands out here on the left. Very quick hands. 2 or 3 passes. And, yeah, you're right. Did the exact right thing. But I just think Gordon's pass was just lacking that final touch.
Very clever player, Warren Shillings. Can pass, and forwards who pass the ball. They're lethal. Short stint for Jaden Brown. He was the one, I think, who came off for Noah Easton. So he's had about 10 minutes on the field. 8 minutes to go in this half. West 12, Cessnock 0. And away we go again. And here's Woodbury, and that was a thankless task. He caught the pass and got absolutely swamped. I think you'd be asking not to get that sort of play again. Now a pass out the back, and Cessnock can move forward here. And that was Woodbury again. They're very keen to offload today. Now here's Easton. He trampled over one. They're moving the ball with the forward, Cessnock. Short side with Dimmick. And Reed Hugo. Oh, very strong contact there from Matt Herman. Heta. Foran. Inside to Connolly. They're hitting hard in defence, Wests. That was Halad, in fact, who got that. Now they go to the left. Foran, he's going to jam this little kick in. That's not a bad one. And Woodbury, if he's good enough to pick it up, could have scored, but he wasn't quite. And now Michael Hendry can surge back at them. And he's beaten a couple of tackles there, and he's still going. They can't put him away. Up over the 40 when he's finally taken down. Entertaining play from both sides there.
Yeah, fantastic little kick there in from Foran. But if you're Barney Miller, you would just want a little bit more from the Cessnock players. They certainly aren't matching it with West. West are just right in control of the game, and I think if they can get another 6-pointer here or another 4-pointer at least, they'll really solidify how dominant they've been in this half.
Here's Herman. Now they were looking for that backline move again there, but everyone just overran it. So Herman had to take it on himself. And Brown's in at dummy half. Now Shillings. Straight up and down this time. Centre field, 20 metres out. 7 minutes to go. It's a cliche that West score here. Here's Brown. Puts it to the air. The other wing this time. And up they go, and Moran nearly came down with it. He'll still have a claim. But I think it was forced in the in goal here, and Cessnock are going to have to drop it out. Brendan Williams, he did just about enough to stop the attack. But a bit of a surprise play there. They've finally given the left winger a rest. Nearly the same result.
Well, the thing is, they won't certainly be not going to try that again because they'll be encouraged by, well, again, the lack of the winger catching it by Cessnock. So. Look, if they can get 6 points here, that'll certainly, I think, make up for how dominant they've been in this half.
Yeah, huge opportunity with 6 minutes to go here. As Colin Clark goes down, he's very strong a couple of weeks ago against Maitland was Colin Clark. Now here's Reggie Saunders. 20 metres out. Knight. And he goes short in the end. It's Clark again. They've got options. Every time they take the ball forward, West, there's more than one runner. Brown set up to the left, Porter to the right, but it goes to Shillings and flat to Saunders, and he ends up throwing a Hail Mary to Porter, who takes it and goes down. It was a pass without any clear aim. He just threw it up in the air, and Porter was close enough to grab it, turn, and get the ball to ground. Welcome to the killing season, 16-0.
Well, it wasn't even a pass, really. It was just kind of a pop-up and hope somebody run through, and Jade Porter there trailing quite nicely. But I think the key to West dominance in this first half has been Knight, the dummy half. He's been busy and he's directed traffic quite well, and obviously when he's got those big men, he can get out of dummy half and zip about, and he's got a bit of space to play with. But as you said before, the problem with West is not having, when Tafua goes off, not having that big man, and Saunders has filled that role quite easily and quite nicely today.
A bit of a nightmare to face 10 metres out. Big Reggie Saunders coming at you. And they did enough to get him to the ground, but he still had his arms free. Joel Brown's got his easiest kicking assignment of the day, with 4 minutes to go here. A win today would send West joint top with Lakes United. As Brown sinks the kick. 18-0 with just about 3 minutes to go here at Harker Oval.
As has been the feature of the real NRL this season, even the biggest of leads have been run down quite quickly. So I don't think that Barney Miller will be too upset or not thinking that Cessnock can come back into this game.
Oh, the short kickoff. I love
Especially
it.
when
I
you
love
do
it.
something like that. That's
Sean,
fantastic.
and Edwards has got it. And they can start an attack here. Well, that's the sort of thing that you're a genius if it works, you're a complete goose if it doesn't. But it's come up for Cessnock here. And this could be a big moment in the game if they jag a try here. Here's Brendan Halad, met very fiercely. 20 metres out centre field. What have they got in attack? Hetters to the right. Hasn't had much ball in this half. Now here's Connolly inside to Metcalf. It all looked a bit aimless for a minute. It ended up okay. Now right in the strike zone here. Looking to the left. And this is Easton. And he's got arms free. He turns. He's not far away. He can't quite get to ground. Right under the posts. Looking to the left. Huge moment in the game this. Here's Foran. Looking. Long ball over the top to Woodbury. Is he good enough from there? He's not too bad, but he's going into touch. He was good enough to get about 8 metres. The last two were a challenge. Into touch he goes. West preserve their lead.
I think a lot of credit's going to be given to the West defence. It's been the few times that Cessnock have been down that end, and they've just Cessnock can't get through. The defence has been fantastic, and look, if you're Barney Miller again, probably perhaps forcing the pass there. They had another tackle or two up their sleeves, and you really want to make every set down there, give it your best chance. And again, they're just forcing it and turn the ball over before the final tackle.
It's worth noting that in round one, Cessnock did run down a lead against Western Suburbs, and not only that, they kept them scoreless in the second half. I reckon they might just about have to do that again today.
Well, there was the game, I think, last round at Souths and
Maitland. Yeah, that was very bizarre. 30-0 and nearly got run down. So there is precedent, you're right. Not long to go here, 1 minute in fact, of this first half. And Jade Porter, well, he'll be regretting taking that pass, I suspect. He nearly got buried under Harker Oval there by his opposite number. Now Colin Clark, been very busy in the few minutes he's been on the field. Time running down, 40 seconds to go. And Brown's just going to launch this downfield and make Cessnock chase. Geordie Connolly's got it. Well, maybe they might want to have a dip at them here with 30 seconds to go. Here's Woodbury. He'll have a scamper himself. What are they plotting and scheming here? He gets dumped. Good tackle. Another good charge there. They're poised. 10 seconds to go. Maybe chuck it up in the air. They're looking for the ball. It's Foran. It's out the back. It's all fallen apart a little bit there for Cessnock. This is Mark White. But now they've got it away. That's a good bit of play. Dimmick, Edwards puts it on the toe, but that's pretty gentle. And Hendry, but it's picked up by Woodbury. Goodness me. And now Hendry will clear it into touch like John Terry. And the half is over. 18-0. Well, we had a bit of theatrics there at the end, but Western Suburbs half by a long way. They've held onto the ball, they've had the discipline, and they've had the attacking thrust in the Cessnock half of the field. A few bombs to the corners and things like that. Cessnock will be terribly disappointed with their attack. They've dropped the ball a few too many times, and they haven't had too much about them in the Western Suburbs half. It looks like a very tall order for the top of the table team, but we will see in the second half. We'll be back then for the second half with Bar TV.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.
It doesn't matter if you do it in a man cave, in your van, on your couch, with a painted face. Whatever it is, just get behind your team.
Newcastle. Go the Knights.
Go Barra. With your favourite cold one in your hand. Our passion, our game, our beer. Tui's new, for the love of footy.
Here's your story, let's begin. The water's fine, come on, dive in. The future's here, it's right before your eyes. Step by step, you're on your way. Welcome to a brighter day. Don't you know it feels good to be alive? You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars. You could have all you ever wanted, shoot the moon and reach for Mars. You know you could.
Well, welcome back to Cessnock Sports Ground indeed. Welcome back to Harker Oval. And as the 4 o'clock chill has taken its place here, we're almost ready for the second half. West lead at 18-0. A very disappointing fare indeed from Cessnock in the first half. And Matthew Peterson's with me. My name's Morgan Campbell. Matthew, what do Cessnock need to do in the second half to get back into this game?
I think they just need to match West's energy. West are just totally dominant in that first half. They controlled the whole game. They got the 12 points in front, 2 bombs. Perhaps the second one a tad lucky, bounced into the arms of the West winger, but they just need to complete their sets. I'm sure that's what Barney Miller said. Complete your sets, build a bit of pressure, and if you have enough opportunities on their goal line, you're going to break through at some point with guys like Foran and Hetzer. Guys of those class are going to find the try line sooner or later. I think if you're West, you more of the same, very professional. Everything you expect of West, I think. Not much wrong with their first half.
Heartwarming moment of sportsmanship there as Jared Edwards was trotting back onto the field. He pinched one of West's water bottles, had a big drink, chucked it back down, thanks very much, onto the field.
That's fantastic.
Isn't it just?
It warms the cockles of the heart.
Absolutely. And we're away. Second half here. Cessnock were top of the table starting this weekend. They'll be third if they lose here today. And here's Noah Easton bringing it back for the first hit up of the second half. They kept West scoreless in round 1 in the second half and came back and won the game. That's what they need to do today again. You'd think Coach Miller would know where the bodies were buried around here, but time will tell. Mark White comes back now. And that's a good struggle. A very long tackle. Now here's Dimmick, and he's going to have to take it himself here. And they're up into near the halfway line here. And now Hetzer. And Hetzer, he's beaten a couple of tackles here. Up over towards the 40. And Connolly. And Connolly spins out of one. Bit more enterprise, working the middle of the field. Now he's Foran. And he'll go to the sky. It's been a very popular option today. But very gently taken there by Justin Smith. He hasn't had too much to do, the West fullback. And he took that one pretty comfortably.
Well, West's got the double punch out there now. Mark Defoe back out there, and Reggie Saunders is still out there. So if I was the Cessnock defence, I wouldn't be too keen about making too many tackles, because certainly a worry. having those two guys run at you in a set of 6.
Yeah, interesting tactic from Dean Botham. I suspect he might want to try and punch a few holes in Cessnock here and put them out of the game early in this half. There's Reggie Saunders, and maybe that's the way to do it. They got up and swamped him there, and he didn't make too many metres. Now here's Shillings. West with their first set of the half here. And Knight goes out the back. And Brown, he went down a bit theatrically there from a shot from Reid Hugo, but theatrically enough for referee Taylor, who says that's an illegal hit. And West are going to get a penalty 50 metres up the field, only 10 out from the Cessnock line. Hugo, he was late. I don't know that there was too much in it, but Brown probably made a bit of it. Good enough for the referee. And West have got a great position to start another set here.
Well, any contact after a kick has made their kick is always going to just open yourself up for a bit of pain, but the worst possible start here for Cessnock.
Well, almost. They're going to take the 2. They're going to take the 2 here, West. That's an interesting option. I would have thought 18-0 in front. You might fancy to try and really sink the slipper into them. And it's not the easiest kick either. It's not a guaranteed 2 points here. Joel Brown has been kicking well.
Yeah, strange one. You would think they would continue on the way they played in the second half. They didn't have too much trouble breaking through the Cessnock defence. So time will tell. At 80 minutes, if the 2 points is the difference, it's a genius move.
Well, there is a reason Dean Botham's down there and we're up here, I suppose. Let's see. He at least needs to kick it. Here's Brown, and he's kicked it. So the lead's out to 20 here. Cessnock over West, West over Cessnock. Just 3 minutes gone in the second half. Can you feel that chill coming through the window, Matthew? Just a little bit of a breeze, isn't there?
Well, we have the privilege of actually sitting up in the, or standing up in the commentary box, and there's a beautiful window, and yeah, the worst part is I'm getting big gusts of barbecue, and it's
torture.
And descending those commentary box stairs, well, you don't want to do that more than once.
Perilous, isn't it? Once I went up them I've been up and down them 3 times now. Someone's got to get onto Newcastle Council about this. It's outrageous. They're all about I guess maybe 5 centimetres wide, 5 centimetres thick, the steps, and all on top of each other. It's almost like a vertical ladder. There's no staggering of them. It's terrible. The occupational hazards of rugby league commentary. Here's Warren Shillings. And Tafua. That was a good charge, and he's got the ball away. I'm not quite sure how, but Justin Smith didn't advance the cause too far. But that little bit of an offload, it does put the question into the minds of the defence. He's Porter with a kick, and he splits the fullback and the winger beautifully. And Woodbury's bringing it back here. Good solid contact, and he's driven back. They make a couple of metres without the ball, Wests. And Cessnock are a bit slow to get back here. Now there's a penalty. What's he calling here?
I think it might have got the Cessnock player a bit high.
It's Mark White who's down on the ground here. Yeah, you're right, high tackle. And we're going to have time off here. Referee Taylor inviting... I thought he was going to invite Mark Tafua in chambers, but no. Mark White's just going to get some treatment here from the Cessnock officials.
Looks as though one of the Cessnock trainers is calling for the magic spray bottle.
Tackles on report, incidentally. It might have been a bit high. We've just heard the numbers of the raffle come through over the PA. There we go. So if you had 8, 7, 9 and 0 in the raffle, and you're now at home watching this delayed stream, you've missed out on a meat tray, I'm sorry to say. Now, the players coming from the field, it's Brendan Williams, in fact, who's coming off. I thought it was a 15. It's actually a 5. So he's coming off, and Cal Orchard, who played on the wing for Cessnock against Curry a couple of weeks ago, pardon me. He's out onto the wing now. And Liam Foran can jam this into touch. And Cessnock can start an attack here, just inside their own territory. A big few moments now. Here's Mark White. I had him off the field a minute ago, but there he is with plenty of vigour. And now Dimmick. Bit of push and shove from White there with Ale. After the tackle. Hint of high against Fatar again there. Dimmick's looking for Easton. Here he comes. A good run. And he's passed one, Noah Easton. He's passed a couple. This is a great charge. And he's 15 out in the end. Here they come, Cessnock, with a bit of a roll on. Dimmick to the right. Hugo, I'm not quite sure how he caught that. I think he caught it with his knee. They can set up an attack. Heta. Foran. Out the back to Connolly. Now Edwards. Edwards is good enough to give it to Woodbury. And Woodbury's over in the corner. Cessnock are on the board. And it all came from that big charge from Noah Easton, getting them going backwards. And Joe Woodbury puts the ball down.
Yeah, he's been really terrific today, Noah Easton. He's bumped off a few tackles and a fantastic run. Made 15 or 20 metres there and bumped off 4 or 5 tackles. And good, I think good work down here on the left by Foran at the first instance. And then Edwards, it was quite a clever ball and a fantastic finish there from Woodbury.
Look at Barney Miller. He's out almost on the sideline there, clapping and cheering the team on there, giving them a bit of encouragement. It's a bit personal, this. Back at his former club. He doesn't want to be embarrassed with a 20-0 scoreline. Now, I think Fatar's talking to the referee here. About 10 yards down the field from where Hetar's lining up the goal. So he said his piece. He's going back. So Willie Heta from the sideline. What's going on here? Referee Taylor is telling Dan Metcalf to sit down. He was standing. He's on the bench, but he was standing about 5 metres closer to the line, and that apparently is unacceptable. He said to go and sit himself down.
I didn't know refs had the powers to force people to sit down. That's
apparently,
fantastic.
Apparently that's the way of things in 2015. Here's Willie Heta, and this one's coming around, but not enough. Never really looked like going over. So Heta misses the kick. The difference is 16. Western Suburbs 20, Cessnock 4. But the salient point out of all of that is that Cessnock are on the board. We actually have the privilege of 2 games on at the moment. We've got the first grade game and then about 5 kids who are having a very intense game down in the other corner. And they've just copped a bit of a spray from the ground announcer there to tell them to get back outside the fence.
Not too much effect either. They're still going as well.
No, it doesn't seem to have bothered them. So forward comes Cessnock. And they have showed a little bit more through the middle in this second half so far. A little bit of craft. And Dimmick away now. And that's Halad. And he's dumped and the ball came out there and it's a knock on. Yeah, it's a knock on. He might have been looking to get it away, but the ball came spilling out. He doesn't look too happy about it, but read about it in the paper tomorrow, dude. Scrum feed to West centre field, just inside the Cessnock half. Now here's Porter. Off the scrum. And Porter almost went past one there, and Edwards was a long way out of his off the line. But they couldn't exploit the gap. Now here's Mannion. And Shillings. And Knight had a juggle there, and it just threw the attack out to the right, to the left, so they go to the right. And here's Porter, and Edwards came out and clouted him. And then twists him to ground like a sheep shearer there. Now here's Reg Saunders. Looking to throw it again. And they're well placed for an attack here. They might try it again down that left side. Here's Shillings out the back. And Brown, and they'll kick to the corner. And they're under it over there, and it's taken very well in the end by Geordie Connolly. I would have said that he could possibly get a contract for Carlton, but Carlton don't tend to take marks like that anymore. That was very well done. And that's what they weren't able to do in the first half, avoid disaster off those high kicks.
It's really starting to kick off here, but both defensive sets have really shown a bit of vigour and a bit of feeling in both sets of tackles.
Yeah, you're right. Mark White, I think this time it is Mark White who's down over there in the middle of the field. And now a penalty to Cessnock, so the niggle got a bit too much. And they've had a few penalties. You know, I've written off Mark White again, and it's not him. You realise that, don't you? That's 2 in a row.
That's
so
fantastic.
if Mark White's family are watching this game, I can only apologise, because I've had him down injured twice, and neither time it's been him.
It's a very strange setup here at Harkler Oval. In the grandstand, which you would usually associate with the home team, we've got getting quite a lot of noise coming from the Cessnock supporters directly under us, while the most of the western suburbs fans have, I think they're a bit more clever, and they've gone and hid in the last skerricks of sunlight on the hill.
Yeah, they're also closer to the bar. It's worth noting, and the canteen. So there might be a bit more to that. Now here's Halad. Cessnock well placed to start another attack here. And Dimmick's in at dummy half. He's been on the field for a while now, Dimmick. And now at the back to Heta and Connolly and Metcalf. And Metcalf, he does tend to beat the first tackler more often than not. Connolly's into dummy half. Slow play, the ball just takes the impetus out of them for a moment. Now Heta inside to Easton. Why not? Good run. Very good run. Inside the 10. Dimmick again. Heta. Foran. Foran's going to run and turn it back inside to Connolly, who doesn't quite get there. Or maybe he does. No, it's last tackle. They're going to play on. Dimmick. He's going to go himself. Has he scored? He better not have. He hasn't. The dummy and go from just about, maybe 3 inches away from the line. West were good enough to hold him up, as you would expect a former premiership winning defence to do. They held him up from close to the line. Probably a bit of a waste.
I thought Connolly was just going to be a bit too big and a bit too strong. He usually bumps off the first tackle or two, and fantastic defences, which has just been, I think, the highlight for West this afternoon.
Yep, on their own line, they've been very good. But Cessnock are having a bit more luck breaking them open in this half than last. And now they've broken them open with West. And it's Mannion, but he's thrown an intercept. He's thrown it away to Willie Heta. And now Heta can advance. And Cessnock get the ball back 35 out. Peter Mannion there broke open the Cessnock defence. That looked like a forward pass to Halad. And Cessnock are surging here. Foran. Short ball to Fatah. They're close again. They're putting more pressure on them in this half. Heta. Metcalf. Out the back, the other Metcalf. And he'll try from close. They're only 10 metres away. Still a few tackles in hand here. It's going to be Dan Metcalf again. That's a Metcalf-a-thon out on the right-hand side. 5 metres away. Foran. And Connolly. And Connolly's going to jam this on the boot towards Brett Stevens, who'd just come onto the field. He came onto the field just to run onto that kick, and he wasn't far away, but it'll be a goal line dropout.
Well, how small things can change a game. If West had streaked away there and Willie Heta hadn't taken the intercept, you would almost say that'd be game over with 4 tries ahead. But alas, he took the intercept, and now a try here puts them right back in the game with 26 minutes to go.
A bit of a shonky dropout, but it might end up being all right. Jared Edwards does take it, though. And in the end, they're in. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Whoever's at the bottom of that tackle will be having at least a week off. Porter was in there, so was Ale. And so was Hendry. It's a penalty. And a very, very nasty tackle indeed. Yeah, that was the old traditional spear.
Yeah, thankfully, it looks as the only problem is he might have just got a cramp or something. But
yeah,
I don't think there was much malice in it, because it looked like the guys at the top really tried to hold Edwards from being speared into the ground, but put into a horribly ugly position. I
reckon if I was Jared Edwards, I'd be happy to come out of that tackle with nothing more than a bit of cramp. Dear, oh dear. Now, here's Noah Easton, and he's taking ground off them every time he runs the ball. Look at how many it takes to finally get him to ground. He took 10 metres off them after he'd been tackled there. Now here's Heta. Heta with a flat ball out to Connolly. Connolly steps and just fell over in the turf there. His boots let him down a little bit there. Now Stevens and Halad. And Halad's pretty evasive close to the line. Doesn't mind a dart from close. Stevens is in there again. He goes left to Foran. Foran out the back now. And Fatah. And Fatah won't be able to get that away. They're right over in the corner now. Stevens at dummy half. He looks for Foran again. Foran with a flat pass. Out the back to Heta. Heta out wide to Metcalf. Metcalf back to Heta. They should have numbers after that. He's dummying and going himself. Back inside to Sean Metcalf. Good hands to Hugo. Very good in a play from Cessnock, but doesn't come to anything. What have they got here? Out the back to Heta. Heta's going to have to run it because they run up on him and he's going himself. He's not far away, but they're going to be held on last again here. They're going to be held on last again. They took the chance and rushed him. Heta was clever enough to run, but couldn't do any good, couldn't quite get there. And West defence holds out again.
Yeah, couldn't just get there. Got held up by the West defence and couldn't even get there with a bit of a Brett Stevens maul.
Maul, rugby union style.
Really trying to push him over the line, which didn't help at all with 4 or 5 West defenders surrounding Heta.
So Jermaine Aile's got the ball. Hasn't been too involved today, Jermaine Aile. Steve Gordon has. And he takes this one up. West's battling a little bit here to get the ball away. They're a bit staggered. And Jade Porter thought better of throwing that pass because Edwards was up looking for the intercept. Now Knight gets them rolling. That's a bit better. Peter Mannion. And he's done it again. He's taken a lot of ground off them and nearly broke them open. Last tackle. That put a bit of a roll onto the set. And Porter's inside the 40 as he kicks. And a nice touch out there in the end from Orchard, who trapped it well enough. And Cessnock. They can build with Connolly away to Joe Woodbury. 23 minutes to go here on Bar TV. Western Suburbs 20, Cessnock 4. Matthew Peterson and myself, Morgan Campbell, with you, taking you through it. Now Brett Stevens off to Brendan Halat. Up to halfway they go. Onto the cricket pitch. Nothing warms the heart like footballers getting tackled on a cricket pitch, eh? Now Foran, I don't think he's had his heart warmed there. He's just got belted, stepping back on the inside. Now Stevens. And he'll kick this into the corner. And this one might go dead, I think, yes. Hendry was quite happy to let it go and then come back. So Western Suburbs can start with a 20-metre tap. 23 minutes to go. Time just starting to tick away a little bit.
That previous West set, you could see they really struggled for those first 3 or 4 tackles. Then Knight sparked him out of dummy half, which he has done all afternoon. So I think for 9 here, he's been the standout player for West this afternoon.
This might be into touch, yeah, dear oh dear. Gordon worked the short side there, and he gave an absolute hospital pass in the end to Cameron Moran, who was lucky not to end up in amongst the four-wheel drives over on that side of the field. It's another of these grounds where you can take your car in and park, watch through the windscreen. I always think it's a risk, you know. You're always a chance of losing a windscreen, but here you're a fair way away, so they should be okay.
Again, I was about to say that it would be a fair old boot to get it out to the cars there on the far touch line. But now I think it's getting to that last quarter of the game that Cessnock really need to make every post a winner now. They really need to get some points either this set or at least get a back-to-back set, a goal line dropout.
Well, we saw them a few in round 2 against Maitland, of course. They were down about 32-16 with 10 minutes to go and came back and drew the game and probably should have won it. So they can put on a lot of points late, but there might be a bit of difference between the Maitland defence and this defence from Western Suburbs with tackles like that. Thump. Now Foran. What can they conjure here? Here's Edwards, and he's past his man, but he's not past Jade Porter. And Edwards is into touch on the other side if he's not careful. No, he got the ground eventually. Woodbury's in at dummy half. Out the back to Foran. Foran's running the show here. Easton. And they didn't give him any room this time. He was right flat at the line, and Chris Knight was able to get up and drag him down, but he's still pretty strong. Now Stevens is in at dummy half. This is last tackle. They need to force something with a kick here. They've been getting caught too often. Here's Foran. He jinks and fakes and pretends to kick, and then he's dragged down. And for the fourth time in the game, Cessnock turned it over on last.
Yeah, not what they wanted at all. They really needed to get points or at least roll it into the in goal and try and get a set. But far too often they've just been caught with the ball in their hands on the last tackle, and it hasn't boded well this far. I don't know why they've continued to do it.
20 minutes to go. 20-4 here. West lead it. That's Hendry. They're a little bit bunched again here, West. They've been doing a lot of tackling in this second half, but there's Mannion. And he's been the standout in the second half for West. He's busted them open once, nearly busted them open again. I reckon that's Ryan Petro back on the field. It is indeed. And Knight away now to Porter. Good kick down the middle. Connolly's got to chase back. Oh, the off break again. This is a fifth-day turner in Chennai. And he's ended up throwing the pass to Orchard, and it's not a bad choice because Orchard has been able to advance the cause a good 15 metres. But I don't know if Geordie Connolly plays cricket, but if he does, I don't think he's too keen on the spin bowling. Alec Fatah. That looked a bit high. Penalty there, a bit too much work in the tackle. I reckon he might have milked that a little bit, Alec Fatah.
It wouldn't have been a surprise if the penalty was called for the higher tackle. I think it certainly hit Fatah quite high, but yeah, I think a little bit of acting there from Fatah. But
good kick for touch too. Good kick for touch. 35 metres out. Foran with the ball. Gives it to Easton. And he's the man, isn't he? Look at this run. He's been terrific since he came into first grade for Cessnock. He'll be there for the rest of the year, you'd have to think. Although he's just looks a bit sore there. Now Foran away. And they're almost up to the 10 here. What can they come up with? Stevens and Metcalf. He looks to pass. He goes himself. I reckon if you're that big, you've got to go yourself. But he's got a good ball away. And Reid Hugo, he's within a metre. Right on the line. The defence being tested again. And that's an appalling pass from Brett Stevens, who turns it over. I don't know what he was trying to do there. I think he thought Hlad was coming through to try and barge over from close. But in the end, he threw it between the West player and the Cessnock player. West dive on the ball. And the defence gets them out of trouble again.
Well, if you're Barney Miller, I don't think you're going to be too impressed with the last 3 or 4 sets from Cessnock. They've had them down on the West defensive line and haven't just been able to at least build any kind of pressure.
Even from 18-0 down at half-time, they've had chances in this game in the second half to be, if not back level, then at least pretty close. Now, here's Jermaine Ale giving it to Gordon. One for the purists there, one centre pass into the other. And Ryan Petro eventually goes down. And now Jade Porter thumps this. This is a great kick. His kicking's been quite good today. But this one, now that I say that, might trickle over the dead ball line. It does. Now, the 16, Nick Mahon, who my co-commentator against Maitland, Guy Boland, described as the big man, is onto the field in the 16. I thought it wasn't bad.
It's not bad. He's a man of few words, Guy Boland, so it's a surprise he was that imaginative.
So Cessnock start again. Alec Fatah. He's been very keen to get the ball in this second half particularly. He's taken it up a lot. Stevens inside.
That's him. That's the big man.
No, that's that's Cessnock's big man. That's Jaden Brown. The big man plays for Wests. And yeah, he's the bloke with the beard. Centre field for Western Suburbs in the 16. Now Metcalf. Charging, that's a better ball. Heta did very well to reel it in. He's still looking to pass it. The offloads have been mostly coming from Cessnock today. Here's Stevens, and he dummies. Takes good ground off them there. They've still got a couple of tackles in hand. Metcalf, Foran wide, good ball, but in the end it wasn't that good. Foran's got it back here. It's broken up a little bit. Connolly, Heta. Metcalf, they're up quickly on Metcalf. If he beats that tackle, there's a problem, but he doesn't. Now he gets it away to his brother. Heta. Foreign. They're up quickly, Wests, but that can be a problem if they keep the ball going. They keep the ball going, all right. It's gone into the ground. And that's last tackle and a play the ball again. We'll call that number 5, shall we?
I honestly can't remember the last time Cessnock have put the ball to their foot in this second half at least. It's been, again, we say it over and over again, that they really just need to build pressure somehow, and by not finishing your set with a good kick.
Oh, hello. What have we got here? Now, is this a penalty or a knock-on? It's a knock-on. And that was just very good work out of marker from Jared Edwards there. As the dummy half picked it up, he was right on him to knock it down. 15 minutes to go here. Cessnock will get another chance to attack.
Well, it's been very unlike West the first half of this second half, this first 20 minutes. A lot of drop ball, a lot of not completing sets. Very unlike them, very professional in that first half, and really didn't give Cessnock many opportunities. But Cessnock have been, the floodgates have almost opened in terms of the amount of ball they've had down at this end. So they really need to at least convert one of these opportunities into points, and sometime soon, because the clock's ticking away quite quickly.
Well, we said the first half was played between the two 20s. This has been played between the West goal line and the West 20 most of the time. And here they go again. That's a good run. That's a beauty. I think Brendan Halad there. Now Stevens, Dud play the ball. They get away with it. Foreign. This time out the back to Connolly. Connolly shows it, gives it to Edwards, who's so close, but he's held up. I cannot believe it. He's held up and he's lost the ball. What about the defence out wide?
Oh, especially on Jared Edwards, who's been really hard to stop today. I think he's been one of the best for Cessnock. The goal line defence can't take away from West. While they haven't been completing their sets in this second half, their defence has been absolutely impeccable.
They've thrown plenty at them. Cessnock have thrown plenty at the West defence, and it has continued to deliver. Now here's Petro, and they've got the forwards using the ball a bit here. Now Petro's got it again. Was he playing halfback out there? He gives it away to the big man, Nick Mann. Up to the 40. Hint of a forward pass about that. Yeah, more than a hint. It was a forward pass. Another mistake from Wests.
Well, we had the perfect view for that. That was done directly in front of us, and that was at least a metre forward.
I'd reckon. Scrum to Cessnock again. Time's ticking away. 13 minutes to go, but this is luxury compared to what they faced against Maitland, so you never know.
Well, again, another opportunity for Cessnock. You would think that the key thing for West now would just be to drill it down the other end and make Cessnock work out from their own end, but I don't think they've been out of their own 50 for 5 or 6 minutes now.
No, they have not, and they have to be getting tired, don't they?
Well, the tackles suggest otherwise. The tackling is still ferocious from West, and Cessnock have, in this last 10 to 15 minutes, really started to chuck the ball around and have repelled it.
Well, that's what they did against Maitland. That was the way they did it. As the game started to get away from them, they took a few more chances. Here's Dan Metcalf. That's a good run. He keeps getting it wide out there and trying to trample his way through them. Hasn't broken them open just yet. Now Heta. Back to Metcalf. He'll try it again. Why not? And he's got past one there. Still looking to throw the pass. Heta. Foreign. Fata, back to Foreign with a bit of a wraparound. Now Connolly. Connolly, if he gets past this one. Now here's Woodbury, and Woodbury's past another one. But Hendry finally dragged him to ground. Oh, and Edwards, he got the same thing done back to him. This time it was the marker up on him taking him. And he couldn't get the pass away. A waste of a tackle there. Woodbury, away to Foreign. They're up quickly on him. So he throws it. Brown, Heta, he'll kick. Over there to Metcalf. It's a challenge. And it's taken over there, is it? No, he's dropped it. And Cessnock can have another go. Out the back. They should score with Reid Hugo. They do score with Reid Hugo. Finally, the dam breaks with 11 minutes to go. 20 points to 8 with a kick to come at last for Cessnock.
Well, it was about, you would imagine with that many opportunities, they were bound to break over. And funnily enough, it came off a kick. The originating play of that was a kick, and pretty good work there from Callan Orchard. They had the 0 tackle. It was reset, the 6 for Cessnock, but still managed to make an offload, which is a bit risky on your zero tackle, and Red Hugo just died over, but gives them a big chance here. If Willie Hatter can kick this, they're only 10 points in it. It's only 2 tries away.
Well, if West kept giving them the ball, they had to score eventually, didn't they?
Well, exactly. It's been very unlike West, their performance in their second half with the ball in hand, not completing sets, but their defence, it was so good for so long, it was bound to crack.
Now, Hatter probably very big kick this, because if he misses this, there'll be 2 clear converted tries away. He hasn't missed it. It's a good one. 20-10. They need 10 points in 10 minutes here, Cessnock. And there's a bit more spring in their step now.
It's funny how coming into those last minutes when you're still 2 tries behind, how much difference can make it just getting that first try. So you're right, they've got that spring in their step. All they need here is to continue the way they've been playing and trucking the ball around, which they have caused West some problems when they've done that.
So away we go again. 9 minutes left as the kick goes up, and Liam Foran takes it and gives it to Jaden Brown. And a good charge. Mark White's prowling about on the touchline with the number 9 interchange card in his hand. So he's about to come back on. Coaches in the real NRL, I notice, are very sparing in their use of the interchanges. They tend to still have a few up the sleeve with 10 minutes to go in the game. Now Metcalf, Dan Metcalf. Dimmick's back on the field. Now Hatter, Foran, and Fatar, and they've got numbers again, but they haven't got the ball. Jade Porter made a huge tackle there because if Fatar had got that away, they might have had space down that side. Now Jade Porter's got the ball and gives it to Nick Mann. Knight. Petro. Centre field, 15 out. They can finish this here, West. The big sucker punch. They've copped all the pressure. Now Tafui nearly spilled it. Holds onto it. They've copped all the pressure. But if they score here, it'll be good night. And here's Knight. Petro. They've got the momentum here. And Herman finally goes down under the tackle. They've still got a couple left. They're looking right. And they cut out Mann and go out the back. And this is Justin Smith. And he got belted. Last tackle. What have they got on last tackle here? Here's Brown. And who would have thought it? It's a bomb. And up they go and down they come. And it will be a 20 tap. They dealt with that one all right, Cessnock. The sucker punch wasn't quite landed there.
Certainly alarm bells, though. They'd be very disappointed only on the second tackle to give the ball away.
Here's Foran. And they're going wide early in the set here. Jared Edwards. And he's thrown the offload out the back. It's play on. Dimmick away to White. There was a bit of indignation in the Western Suburbs line there about that being allowed to play on, but it all seemed fair. Now Dimmick. Very strong tackle up top from Warren Shillings.
Yeah, the West defence has really held through this second half, and their tackles is just as hard as they were in the first half as they are in these last 10 minutes.
This is like a museum of bad play the balls at the moment, but anyway, Foran got wrapped around there. Now Edwards. Connolly. Wide to White. Back out the back to Connolly. They're starting to really throw it about here. That's good hands from Foran, and Edwards throws the dummy. Ball going from side to side here. It's worked for them in the past. Edwards finally gets to his feet. Woodbury. Foran. Long pass out the back to Hatter. Now the other Metcalf, Dan. And he's got a bit of ground here. And they're only 20 away. Probably needs to happen now if there's still to be a chance. Here's Halad. And he makes a good run. Very slow play the ball. Away to Hatter. Cut out pass is knocked down. It must have been knocked down by Gordon. They won't allow this to play on. Cessnock will have another set. The pressure and the stress is building on both sides here. Wests are under pressure to hold on. Cessnock are under pressure to come up with something in attack.
Look, it makes for a fantastic last 6 minutes. This game could really go either way if Cessnock can crash over here and break open this West line, which they have struggled to do all afternoon, then it makes for an interesting last few minutes. As we know, Cessnock have the potential just to be able to score points at a pinch, as they've done against Maitland earlier in the season.
Can I just say that I reckon Wests are the best equipped club for ball boys in the real NRL?
There's a few of them floating about.
Absolutely. And they've been very on task today. Time back on here with 5 minutes to go. Here's Foran. And Foran's dummying and running himself, and he's just one tackle away from the line there. But he's finally taken down by Porter, who's done a good shift in defence a few times. He got them out of trouble. Now they go short to Dimmick. And Fatah, and he's pushing, and he's there. He scored. Alec Fatah scores for Cessnock. Time enough, if good enough here. 5 minutes to go. 20 points to 14 with a kick to come.
Well, if you're Dean Botham, you're probably disappointed with that defensive effort. The way they've been defending all afternoon to let in pretty easy try. They had him covered for numbers, and just a bit of a lapse in defence. They have been tackling basically for the last 20 minutes on their line. They've had a lot of sustained pressure, but gives Cessnock a chance. It gives Cessnock a sniff. If they can kick this as well, it makes it very interesting.
Certainly does. You're absolutely right, though. After all the defence and all the effort, that really was a pretty gentle barge-over try. So Hetter's got the ball on the tee. He's 1 from 2 today. Kick here would give them a chance of winning it with another converted try. If he misses, you'd have to think a draw is their best shot. Here he comes. It's not coming around. No. So I would reckon that they won't be hoping for any more than a draw here, Cessnock. 20 to 14. They've already had a draw in this league, incidentally. They had a 32-all with Maitland. West are taking a little bit longer to get back now. Reggie Saunders is ready to come back on by the looks. He's got, see, I talk about being spare with interchanges. Saunders has got the 7 in his hand. So they've still got 2 in hand even after these 2 players come on.
Well, it's interesting to note both benches are actually been down to 3 for the last little bit, so I'm not sure who the 2 guys missing off each bench are, but look, at this late stage, it's not really going to affect that.
Away they go. That's Noah Easton back onto the field in the number 10. 3 minutes to go. Now Heta and Foran back inside to Edwards. They're going to keep going wide here. And Edwards has been doing more and more damage as the day's gone on, and he's thrown a bit of a Reggie Saunders pass. And that's Josh Dimmick. Now Connolly. And Halad. They're going to go wide to the other side now with Heta and Metcalf. And Metcalf's lost it, and he might have thrown the game away there. The ball came spewing forth. Gordon lands on it. And with 2 minutes to go, West shouldn't lose from here. Well, if they lost from here, it'd be a miracle. They shouldn't lose anything from here. As Nick Mahon comes off for Reggie Saunders for a 2-minute stint to finish the game.
Well, you would imagine that would be, if they can get to their kick here, Cessnock would have to go 100 metres. And again,
penalty, I would reckon. No, knock on. Knock on. On the cricket pitch. From Michael Hendry. He's been very good today. But he spilt that one. And the referee will be under pressure to call time off, and that's what he's done. 2 minutes to go. Western Suburbs 20, Cessnock 14.
Well, when the door looks to shut, something just keeps it a little bit open, and here's a big chance to at least get into a position to draw the game.
So here they go. Willie Heta, great finish to this game. The second half's been terrific. It's been a great study in perseverance from both sides. They've both stuck with the task very well. Now here's Brendan Halad. The first half was lopsided. The second half's been befitting of a top-of-the-table game like this. Not long to go at all. Now Noah Easton, 1 minute. We've got 1 minute to go here. Noah Easton's making plenty of ground. He's rolling forward. What a good run. Another one from him. And they can come at them again here with Foran. 48 seconds. Foran gets monstered by Mark Tafua. And that'll take him out of the play. 40 seconds left. Dimmick, Connolly, Heta, Metcalf. And they swamp Metcalf, but he throws the ball at the back, and Saunders might fall on this. No, it's Connolly, and they're going backwards with it at the moment. Now Connolly, but it's a bit broken up. This time it goes to ground. Porter doesn't pick it up. Out wide, Edwards. And they're going backwards with the ball. They've only got 20 seconds left here. 6 to go, won't make a lick of difference. 20 metres out. 12 seconds left. Foreign, back in field. It's all coming apart for them. Edwards, over there to White. This will be a miracle. Hetter over to Metcalf. They've got the numbers. Sean Metcalf throws it to Orchard. Time's up. Metcalf, Hetter. And now it's there with Easton, and the ball goes to ground. I reckon that'll be it. Wests are going to win the game. It hasn't been easy for them in the second half, but they're going to get the points here. They have got the points here. 20-14. And a sterling defensive effort. They've spilt plenty of ball. They gave Cessnock plenty of chances, but just as quickly as they gave them those chances, they denied them.
Well, who would have thought an ending like that after West took the penalty goal in about the 42nd minute of the game to go up 20-0, that at the last ditch, the last set of 6 of the game, there was still a chance of Cessnock to draw the game. Fantastic end to the game, and very lopsided, 2 lopsided halves. The first half was all West. West had all the running. They controlled the game very well. Cessnock didn't even look in the game. This second half, West dropped a lot of ball. Cessnock had a lot of opportunities in the 20 for West, but West's defensive effort was the difference, and is what won them the game in the end.
A sensational finish to the game. A very good contest in the end. It looked a bit wobbly, as you say, early in the second half, but a very good contest in the end. And West get it 20-14. Matthew, I guess I'll ask for your man of the match.
Oh, look, the West defensive effort, if it could be done, I think everybody really muscled up and contributed to that. I think in the first half, the 20 point or the 18 points they scored in the first half, a lot of that was due, I thought, to the work of Chris Knight at dummy half. I thought he really added some zip, and when the good things that West did in the first half came off the back of a lot of his work out of dummy half, and he was strong in defence, so I'd have to go Chris Knight.
Yeah, I reckon I can wear that. He was very good. There's a lot of talk about Chris Adams as the main man in the Newcastle Rugby League as far as hookers and dummy halves go. I reckon Chris Knight's not far behind. So I think that's probably fair for man of the match. But it's been a tremendous game here. Cessnock looked pretty upset as they walk off the field. As you would imagine, they had plenty of chances, even from 20-0 behind, to come home and win it. But there's plenty of gas still left in this season. Wests go to joint top of the table. They'll be second on points difference behind Lakes after 8 rounds with 6 to go in this competition. But as I say, plenty left to happen this season in the real NRL. I hope you've enjoyed this game as much as we have. Thank you very much, Matthew Peterson. I've been Morgan Campbell, and this is Bar TV.
Real guys, real sport. Bar TV.
It doesn't matter if you do it in a man cave, in your van, on your couch, with a painted face. Whatever it is, just get behind your team.
Newcastle. Go the Knights.
Go Barra. With your favourite cold one in your hand. Our passion, our game, our beer. 2 is new, for the love of footy.